Hi class, and welcome to your next 5-minute lesson. Today we're going to focus on a really important organ called the pancreas. The pancreas is a unique organ that has an endocrine function, and that's what we're going to focus on today, and an exocrine function. The exocrine function actually works with digesting your food, so we'll get into that when you get into the digestive system. The endocrine function has to do with blood sugar and controlling blood sugar. So first let's talk about exactly what blood sugar is. Blood sugar is the amount of glucose in your bloodstream. So where we get glucose from is food. So when you eat some food, you're going to break it down in your digestive system, and you're going to break it down into these little tiny glucose molecules. Those glucose molecules then enter your bloodstream so that your body can use it as energy, because we use glucose to create energy to do things like contract your skeletal muscles. So the pancreas is kind of a weird looking organ. It's right here, and it sits kind of by the small intestine and the stomach. That's when you take a picture of the body, that's where it's located. And the pancreas is going to release two different hormones that really help to control your blood sugar. So first let's talk about what happens if you were to eat food and have a rise in blood sugar. So there's your stimulus right there. It's a rise in blood glucose levels, and that's from eating food. This is going to cause an imbalance or a homeostatic imbalance. So what's going to happen is your pancreas is going to secrete insulin. Insulin is that very important hormone that we've been talking about. So the insulin gets released into your bloodstream. And what this does is it allows your body to use glucose. Insulin acts as a little shuttle to help bring glucose into your body cells. So that's this right here. Most body cells are going to take up the glucose, or the glucose is going to enter your body cell and be used to make ATP and do various functions. Now, if you have an excess of glucose and we don't need to use it right away, the liver is an important organ that's going to store our excess blood sugar or excess glucose. And what it does is it basically just takes glucose molecules and kind of clumps them all together and makes this huge giant molecule called glycogen. So glycogen is just glucose, but a bunch of glucose molecules put together. That's the only difference. So we release the insulin, our cells uptake it and use it to be energy, use the glucose as energy, or if we have too much, we store that glucose in the liver. And then our insulin will drop and our blood glucose levels will drop, and then we get back to normal. So that's when you eat something and then we have to release insulin. But the other hormone is called glucagon. And glucagon is released when the opposite happens. So let's say you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to run out of here. I've got to get to school. I have no time for breakfast. Shoot. So you get to school. You're really hungry. You haven't eaten all day. Lunch is still 2 periods away. So what's going to happen? You're going to have a drop in blood sugar levels because you didn't eat anything. You have nothing to kind of make that glucose for you. So what happens is when we have that declining blood glucose level, because maybe you forgot and skipped breakfast, we're going to release glucagon. Glucagon is going to go and target the liver again, because if you remember, we stored our excess glucose in the liver. So we have this big storage of glucose now, so we break it down. So remember, glucose is stored as glycogen, and all we do is we break down the glycogen into little tiny glucose molecules, and then we release it into the bloodstream. And that is going to increase our blood sugar levels back to normal. So insulin and glucagon are two hormones that are released, and they have opposite effects. Insulin is going to decrease your blood sugar levels when you have a spike from eating food. Glucagon is going to help increase your blood glucose levels when maybe you accidentally skipped a meal or you had a really hard workout and you used a lot of glucose during that time. So that is the pancreas. Very, very, very important for maintaining blood sugar levels. So before we take off, I just want to talk really quickly about diabetes. So insulin and the pancreas basically don't function correctly when you have type 1 and type 2 diabetes. What happens is you have cells, you have beta cells that don't produce insulin. A lot of times with type 1 diabetes, this is genetic and you're born with it, or it comes on at a very early age. And so you don't make insulin. So if you don't make insulin, glucose can't get into your body cells and be used properly for fuel. So that's why when you see type 1 diabetics, they're constantly checking their blood sugar levels, and they'll sometimes have an insulin pump to pump insulin into their body, so if they have a spike, they can bring it back down. Type 2 diabetes is a little bit different. This is a mix of genetics and maybe not eating healthy, not exercising, not taking care of yourself. And when all of those factors come together, the pancreas kind of just slows down. It doesn't really work as well. We're still producing insulin, but our cells are unable to now detect that insulin. So we have insulin, but we have no way for glucose to get into the cells because the cells don't recognize insulin. So we have both of those things, but now the cells don't really connect with insulin. So that's the difference really between type 1 and type 2. Type 1, you can't make insulin at all. You have a non-functioning endocrine pancreas. And then in type 2, this is just the pancreas slowing down, not working as well, but you're still producing insulin, but the body is not able to use it correctly. So I hope that helps. It's really important to know and understand this picture. So definitely take a screenshot of it in your PowerPoint and make sure that you know exactly what is happening when you have rising blood sugar levels and exactly what's happening when you have declining blood sugar levels. So now please answer the questions below and submit as a PDF when you are done. And thanks for watching.